guys are gorgeous. All right. So how many of you have had a setback in your life? Raise your hands. Okay. I did too. I was 40 years old, and when it happened to me, I didn't realize how much I needed it. So imagine yourself being in the best shape of your life, doing meaningful work, and then getting blindsided by a diagnosis. Oh. It still chokes me up to this day because it's something that I never expected. You see, I was working as a physician assistant in oncology and pathology here in Boston. My job consisted of treating other people and getting them well, but also validating cancer drugs for a living. And none of that prepared me for hearing those words. So honestly, what it felt like, it's like being a lifeguard and drowning in your own pool. I helped everybody else in my life, and here I am having to help me. And I was just completely overwhelmed. So I did exactly what I knew I needed to do, what I told everybody else they needed to do, is I went for the surgery, I went for the treatment, I went for the follow-ups, I checked every box, and they told me, congratulations, you're cured. Now go live your life. Honestly, I didn't feel cured. I felt numb. And all of my friends are saying, oh my God, you're so brave. But I didn't feel brave. I felt like a fraud. Because deep down, even though I was going through all the motions, I felt defeated, shameful, guilty. Because I had an expectation of myself that I would not be here. I knew better. But the conversation in my head is, how the heck did you get here? So fast forward 5 years. I go back to my doctor's office, and I get re-diagnosed. I get re-diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer that's throughout my body. And this time I had nobody to hide behind. Like the first time you're like, oh, okay. The second time you're like, okay, this one's on me. So the problem is this. I went through the motions, right? I did what I needed to do. I knew what I had to do, but I didn't go all in. I didn't go all in on me. See, and nobody would really blame me if you on the outside looking in. My dad got diagnosed 6 months after I did. I gave him all the time, care, and attention that I wasn't giving to myself. Anybody been there? So what ended up happening is, it wasn't until that second diagnosis that I realized, oh boy, I'm in this now. I just kind of should have done something different the last 5 years. I had to find a lot of forgiveness for myself because it was just my people-pleasing habit coming through. It was the obligation of family coming through. But then at the same time, and like the thing is that I was able to spend time with him, so that was my silver lining. I'm like, well, you know, he doesn't have that long to live, so let me just focus on him. I'll get to me at some point. And it wasn't until I got diagnosed the second time that I realized that I needed to do more for me. I needed to choose me and trust me. And the thought terrified me because I didn't trust myself. I spent my life seeking validation. I spent my life seeking love from other people. Like I would give to them, but I never got it the way that I gave it. So I was in this vicious circle of trying to get what I needed, what my soul desired. And I forgot who I was. And I just pushed myself aside. I tolerated less than I deserved. I said, oh, it's fine, when it really wasn't fine. And I literally distracted myself from my own healing by being busy with something else. So here I am, I'm metastatic. I'm now placed on a drug that I helped validate here across the Charles. I knew the science, the statistics, the odds. For me, that meant I probably wouldn't make it to 50. I knew I needed to go all in, and I needed to go all in ASAP if I wanted to live. So for the first time in my life, I started paying attention. I got rid of all the things that didn't serve me, all the things that distracted me, and I was like, okay, what do I need to do? So I didn't know what I needed to do. So I started where I felt comfortable. I started with my medical knowledge, I dug into the research, and I sought out other experts. And where that led me to unconventional medical treatments, holistic treatments. The thing is, I just worked 20 years in conventional medicine. First, my mindset of that had to change. I had to believe in it. I had to believe in the miracle of it. But I also knew I was setting myself up for criticism, skepticism, and ridicule. When my oncologist found out what I was up to, he threatened to fire me if I did not stop that, because he didn't agree with it. But I was still like, I don't care. I actually sat there and started trusting the one expert I hadn't listened to all along. Me. So I stand here before you today after 6 figures worth of dollars, over a year worth of time, cancer-free. Yeah. Because I chose to bet on me. So, you may be asking yourself, yeah, that's great, Laura, but what the heck does that have to do with me? Well, see, my story isn't about cancer. It's about the universal struggle we all face. You know those moments where you doubt yourself, where you're scared to do something because you're afraid to fail, where you don't trust yourself, where you're maybe like listening to other people and you're like letting them sway your decisions, right? Everybody's been there. There's some part of your life where you're doing that, where you're playing small, where you're tolerating less, where you're sitting there and you just accept the crumbs instead of standing boldly into your power of like, this is what I deserve. Well, that's what this conversation is about. And this is what I've learned. First of all, awareness is everything. You cannot change what you're not willing to face. Self-love, we've heard a lot about that today, but self-love is non-negotiable. I used to think that self-love was selfish. Oh, who am I to think about me? No, I need to think about them. They'll love me enough. They'll come and they'll help me like I'm helping them. How many times has that worked out for you? No, it's never as reciprocal unless you're a stand and you're like, this is what I need. Also, you need to add people in your life. The one thing that I learned throughout my journey is that the people that were closest to me as I was going through it were not my people. I could not go and talk to them, right? We were talking about this last night, about the people in my life. My coworkers literally said to me after I got a bilateral mastectomy, oh, well, at least you got a great boob job. Like, really? Ask me how many more times I went up to that person. And she was a woman. You'd think that she would empathize, but she didn't. And people in my life, people very close to me, because I chose to live a life where I live life to the fullest every day. So you know what? I go on vacation. I plan vacations a year ahead so I have something to live into. And people close to me are literally saying, well, she's not sick, she's on vacation. How could she be sick? How could she have cancer? Like, people aren't, and that kind of conversation, for me, no longer lives in this world, in my world. I'm not willing to put up with it. So what I learned that I needed to do is like, okay, you're there, that's fine. But when I need support, when I need somebody to talk to, when I need to go and cry on somebody's shoulder, they're not the ones that I choose. So I found a tribe of women that I know I can call. And I'm like, I need help. I need you to talk this through. I need you to ground me. So add the people in your life that you need in order for you to become the person you want to become. And also, setbacks are a gift. if you're willing to look for it and you're willing to reframe your setback. So I want you to ask yourself, where are you playing small? Where are you tolerating things you shouldn't tolerate? Where are you allowing other people's needs to come before your own? And where are you not choosing yourself? Because choosing yourself is one of the most difficult, yet liberating decisions you're ever going to make for yourself. And choose yourself not as survival, but as an act of radical self-love. Because you are, I say this, my husband and I say this to each other every morning, you're a big effing deal.
Right.
And if you don't hold yourself that way, nobody else will see you that way. So if you learn anything from me today, it doesn't mean that you have to go something through so traumatic, like facing your mortality twice in order for me to stand here today and truly love myself, honor myself, value myself. So in the moments where you're not sure, I want you to ask yourself, is the decision that I'm making today honoring the person I want to be? And if the answer is no, then I want you to choose differently. So say no to the things that drain you. Say yes to the things that light you up. Choose yourself like it is your job and your life depends on it, because it does. And literally, when you have those moments of doubt, I want you to remember that you're not broken. You're human. We're all imperfect. And you're just becoming radiant. And the choice and the life that you want to truly live is on the other side of that choice to bet on you. Thank you, and I'm Marini.